Now, welcome to practice today. I have put a blanket and 2 blocks near me. Does that mean you actually need 2 blocks? Maybe, maybe not. I placed them there for a bit of extra support in potentially one shape. Some of you expressed issues with limbs, knees, and alike. Sometimes it helps to have 2 blocks for your hands to rest on. Hints for your own practice. Bolster might be nice for relaxation and restful shapes as well. So today I would love us to begin, if possible, either lying down or seated. Please make your choice. If right now you feel very tired, I suggest to start seated. If you feel highly alert, for example, perhaps it's a good idea to lie yourself down. Whatever you do with your body now, lying down on your backs or coming into a seated shape, please find length in your spine. So when you're lying down, have the little wiggles through the pelvis. The same would do when we're seated. Then have a bit of a movement into the shoulders. Same here when you're lying down. You might likely explore the movement of the neck by turning the head or tilting it slightly. And then finding or nestling yourself into the shape you've chosen. You might even enjoy closing the eyes, and if you don't right now, maybe steadying your gaze instead. Begin by breathing in and out, or rather, you do that anyway. Awareness to the breath traveling through your nostrils. I would love for us to connect to kindness today. And as much as we are seeking kindness ourselves, we might not willingly share it with ourselves. While the practice of kindness is also one that we want to ripple out into our surroundings or perhaps the world itself, it is important that we apply kindness to ourselves foremost, so that then we are able to share kindness with others. If it feels right for you, you might now choose to place one or even both hands onto your heart space. You could do so by bringing one hand on top of the other, or some might prefer Anjali Mudra. As you choose to rest your hands here, try and connect to the heartbeat. Then shift your awareness towards heart center, more so where your hands are pointing towards. Imagine then where heart center energetically sits, right there in the middle of the chest, not at the front, not at the back, but right centered there in front of your spine. I'd ask you now to imagine that with each deeper breath you're taking, you're breathing into your own heart and back out of the heart. So each breath is flowing into heart center and out of heart center. Let that be your focus for a little while, breathing in and out of your heart. capacity of your breath is reasonable, but slightly energizing. As you get into this idea of breathing in and out of the heart, you can choose to leave your hands here, but you could also choose to rest the hands down, perhaps using Gyang Mudra, index and thumbs touching, to assist you with the concentration. With or without the hands resting at the heart, keep breathing in and out of your heart center. See if you can keep the focus there for a little while as you continue. Feeding energy into heart center by breathing in and out of it. Well, you might continue doing so. Even could you keep your eyes closed? Take a deeper breath in and let your arms open out to each side. And on the out breath, give yourself a gentle hug around your heart and shoulders. On the next inhalation, open the arms out wide again. And give yourself another hug, just the other arm on top. As we repeat once more to each side, could you lift your heart and gaze in the next round? And as you embrace yourself, as you push the back into the ground, if you're lying, or rounding lightly if you're seated. The next in-breath, arms open again, the heart might lift. And the other arm comes on top as you breathe out for another embrace. As you release your arms and hands towards your legs, if you're lying down on the back right now, start to bend your knees. Roll over to your side and then join us in a seated position. I will now lean a little bit forward, only to remove the block from underneath me. If you've been sitting on one, please perhaps doing the same. Then coming onto your hands and knees. We won't stay here for very long. I would love you to just lazily ground your hands down and stand on hands and knees if possible. Cushioning under the knees is welcome here. And then just moving for a little while intuitively. We've connected to your heart. It's where I believe we've got parts of our intuition sitting as well. So you might have connected to that. So you can respond to any sensations that you feel in the body and create a movement for yourself that feels just right. There's a potential here to close your eyes and allowing you to continue this movement for a tad bit longer. As you breathe, as you move, Then on your next exhalation, tuck your toes under and push the floor away as you're rounding the spine. You can now choose to step your feet forward or leave toes tucked under, bring the hands back, then lift your knees off the floor, and we will end in a standing forward bend. I will use this standing forward bend to take my socks off. And then slowly starting to curl your spine up to stand. Allow your shoulders to lift as you breathe in, and then give them a gentle shrug back as you breathe out. It's okay where you stand. You might just simply stand a little bit closer now towards the front side of the mat, allowing the feet to be a gentle hip distance apart, or perhaps your big toes are touching together. Give your shoulders another roll back and let the palms of the hands open forward, setting up a mountain pose or Tadasana. As you stand on the feet, notice if you can feel yours, if they feel very even or not, and perhaps move the feet or the ankles. I'm doing all of this right now, quite disconnected with one foot and yet feeling okay on the other side. So finding your way as you rock over the feet, aiming to connect them more evenly towards the mat. Once you've found that, take a gentle look down. They usually come a slight bit out of alignment. And then squeeze your inner heels toward each other as we do in mountain poses. Feeling that gentle support from the feet rippling up into the legs. That action usually softens or unlocks the knees too. The upper body here feels quite easy. I'd encourage you to either find a steady gazing point or to softly close your eyes. Returning to deep breathing, as today we're using a few mantras. The mantra for mountain pose is, I am caring. I am caring. Repeating the mantra silently, or if you wish, in your spaces out aloud. I am caring. Repeat that for a little while you hold your mountain shape. As you let go of your mantra, take a breath in to lift your arms. Perhaps the gaze comes up, Urdhva Hastasana. Touch the palms of your hands together, soften your knees, and begin to fold forward and down to Uttanasana, your forward bend. I will now grab a block and use the block to place my fingertips upon, lengthening the spine forward into Ardha Uttanasana. So take a look here at your feet. They're still hip distance in alignment with each other. Perhaps deliberately soften the knees a tad bit. If you don't want to use a block, press your fingertips against your shins, lengthening the spine forward in the same way. The neck is aligned, the shoulders are in their sockets. As you hold Ardha Uttanasana, the half forward bend, you might silently or aloud repeat, I am respectful. I am respectful. As you repeat the mantra, take in the sensations that you feel from holding this shape. I am respectful. As you next exhale, soften your knees and fold back down into Uttanasana. Let go of the head. Have gentle movements here if they feel good. Especially a turning of the head might be nice. I will sneak my blanket behind me. And for the next inhale, find a short time, another half lift. And then on the out breath, stepping the right foot back, and I will lower the knee down towards my blanket, sliding the left foot a tad bit more forward. Now, if you want to use a block or two, this might be a good position to do so. As the front knee is aligning over the ankle joint, start to lean the hips forward, but maintain that alignment. So maybe the foot wiggles a tad bit further forward. Whether you have your hands on the floor, on a or two blocks, see if you can lift your heart slightly forward in this shape and just letting your hips sink in. Notice if this feels good for you. Your option is to stay there, bring hands upon the knee to lift, or even lift both of your arms. If you are observing me, I've just leaned a little bit back to protect the knee on the floor. You may do the same, but if it still feels good for you to lean forward, even though your arms might be up, you can also still lean into the shape. So find your variation that you can easily hold. And perhaps repeating to yourself, I am compassionate. I am compassionate. As you repeat, maintain the shape, your focus. I am compassionate. Bringing your hands back down onto your support or the floor. There is a little add-on. If your knee is happy with that, bend it. That's the one that's on the floor. Some of you might even want to reach for the foot. If you can take a hold of the foot, squeeze it up towards your buttocks. Only an option to lengthen a bit further into the front of this leg. Then releasing any binds that you might have had. Rock a little bit back. Take the blocks out of the way and step your knee back to join the other. Leaning now the spine forward in towards a kneeling plank. Drawing your tailbone up towards your heels. Be strong in your upper back and look gently down towards the floor, Kumbhakasana plank position. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, keep your elbows close. Come to land down on the front of the body. The blanket too thick, just slide that out from underneath. Bringing your arms forward so you can land your forearms on the ground. Your elbows might be underneath the shoulders, but the arms can be much further forward if you need a more gentle back bend. And sometimes I have people in classes that just lift the heart space because the lower back would protest. So please be kind to yourself, and even if you stay lying on the floor and visualize this shape, perfect. If you're with me, elbows are underneath the shoulders or slightly further forward. Ground through the forearms, your hands. Ground through the tops of the feet so the knees are lifting lightly. Draw your pubic bone down and bring your heart forward. You might choose here to close your eyes. And perhaps repeating to yourself, I am cooperative. I am cooperative. On your next breath out, let go of the mantra, spread your elbows out, stack your hands, and rest the forehead upon stacked hands. Let the arms just float out so the shoulders feel easy. Then take a gentle lift of the head on the in-breath. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. On your out-breath, lift yourself up towards all fours and gently sitting your buttocks back towards the heels. Allowing a little wiggle here if that feels good. Push in between the legs if the knees are stressed. Once you've found a suitable resting space, take a deep, full breath in and allow a soft sigh out. You could choose to lift yourself here and walk to the front side of the mat if that's your practice today, or you might rise up for a downward facing dog and then walk the feet forward from there. Returning to the front side of the mat and beginning to uncurl the spine for your out breath. Take the lift back into the shoulders as you breathe in and give them a light shrug back, turning the palms of the hands open. Notice again how you're standing on your 2 feet and perhaps have that little adjustment wiggle so you can return back to your mountain shape, drawing the inner heels toward each other, steady gaze or eyes closed. As your breath settles, your heartbeat settles, repeat silently or aloud, I am caring. I am caring. On the next inhale, lift your arms, your gaze back to Urdhva Hastasana, touching palms and soften the knees, folding back down into your forward bend for Uttanasana. Same here, we will hold a half lift as you can use your block or the fingertips against your shins. No matter which support you might use, soften the knees lightly. Bring your spine forward like a tabletop. Align the neck and then hold. And while you hold, repeating to yourself, I am respectful. I am respectful. On your next out breath, soften the knees and release down to a forward bend. Another breathe, half lift for your inhalation. And on your out breath now, stepping your left foot back and bringing the left knee to the floor if that works for you. The same here, you can use blocks, you can be on your fingertips, whatever feels right for you. As you lean forward, finding the right position so that the knee is back aligning over the ankle joint. Maybe there's a light leaning forward into this lunge. And then let's lift the heart a bit. You can choose to stay here. You could choose to bring the hands upon the knee, lift your torso. You could even raise your arms. If you do, let the palms face towards each other. Choice here is to come a little bit back for the sake of the knee on the floor. But if it's possible for you, you can also stay lunging forward. As you find the position that is right for you, repeating again, I am compassionate. I am compassionate. Hold your focus, the mantra. Releasing your hands back down towards the ground or support. An option to bend the knee behind you. The same option here, you could also reach for that foot with the same side hand. Reminder to self, choose your options. Let's release the leg back to the ground. Take a gentle rock back from the lunge, releasing your support and stepping your knee back to join the other. Bring the hands down, fingers spread out, and lean back forward into plank or kumbhakasana. Remind yourself of your tailbone reaching in the direction of your heels to straighten out and strengthen your plank. For the out breath, keep your elbows close and lower down onto the front of the body. You're repeating the swings as you might slide your forearms back down onto the ground, aligning elbows once again under the shoulders or sliding them further out to support yourself. Grounding through the arms, the tops of the feet so the knees are rising, pubic bone into the mat, and the heart reaching forward. As you hold here, I am cooperative. I am cooperative. While you might keep repeating the mantra, you could choose to bend one knee at the time, holding the lift of the heart. I am cooperative. Then release the movement if you're engaged. And on the out breath, let your elbows spread out. Perhaps it's the other hand that lands on top as you lower the forehead down onto your hands. Taking a deeper breath, perhaps a little movement into the pelvis. And lift the head ever so gently and slide the hands underneath your shoulders. Your in-breaths as you rise to all fours. And if that's comfortable, getting your buttocks in the direction of the heels. Choosing a moving softly child's pose, balasana. Moving until you find your ease in the shape, a deep breath in and out. Your next choice is the same as before. You could come up and just step towards the front side of the mat, or you could lift your knees, find a downward facing dog, and then let that down dog walk forward to the space at the front side of the mat. While I did housekeeping and took the blanket off the floor, taking an out breath here to roll up to standing. Your shoulders again, a little shrug as you find your mountain pose, standing towards the front side of the mat. As you stand tall, take an inhale, lifting the right heel, the arms are coming up. On the out breath, bring the hands down, step the foot back out to the side, bend into your front knee. Find that hip distance stands on tram tracks. Squeeze the feet a little bit inwards, finding warrior one. Your arms might lift here too. If you find your arms up is a good idea, let the palms face each other. Keep shoulders soft, but deliberately reach upwards if that makes sense energetically. At any time, can you bring your hands back to the heart if that is your preference? Holding your warrior one as you silently or aloud repeat to yourself, I am helpful. I am helpful. Let's all bring the hands down towards the heart. Release the hands as you lift your back heel. You can slide the foot in and then bend the knee if you wish. Some of you might take a hold here of the foot from the outside, then join the knees back together. Again, mindful if that's the knee that's hurting. You could then lift the other arm, maybe even find your Gyan Mudra again. And the obvious, you could expand the front of your body as you lift the knee behind or bring the foot into the hand for Natarasha Asana or your dancer pose. The mantra that is here for you, I am grateful. I am grateful. As you release the foot, land it far down behind and ground the heel. Let your arms gently open, the palms of your hands facing upward. The front knee is in a bend, and we're exalting a warrior. As the hand rests to the back, lift the other. The choice of looking up towards the hand or turning your gaze gently down towards the floor. The mantra here is, I am generous. I am generous. Release that as you roll arm and shoulder in. You might rest your hands upon your thigh to step the foot forward and return into your mountain pose. Take a couple of breaths here just to ground and stand strong. Then on the inhale, lifting your left heel together with the arms. Take hands to heart as you step back onto your tram tracks, landing the foot behind, bending the front knee, the hips easily pointing forward, and your feet lightly squeezing in toward each other. Hands can be at heart center, or you might choose to extend the arms, which also might mean you could extend your gaze or looking forward. Palms of the hands will face if you are choosing to extend. Shoulders feel right, easy, no pulling up or down. And there's energy reaching upwards in this shape as we use the legs to ground us. You could repeat again, I am helpful. I am helpful. Letting your hands come back down to the heart. Shifting the weight forward as you raise your back heel, release your hands. Bringing the foot in, the knee in, and maybe lifting the foot up behind as you bend the left knee. You could reach here for the outer side of the foot if that's suitable for you. Knees come back together. And perhaps raising the other arm with Gyan Mudra, index and thumb touching. Here the heart reaches forward while the knee might lift up behind, or you bring the foot back into your hand. As you find Natarasha Asana, you might say to yourself, I am grateful. I am grateful. Releasing your foot as you step the foot all the way down, lower the heel, bring a bend to the front knee, and perhaps lift your arms out with the palms of the hands facing upward. We will exalt a warrior shape as you tilt the body to the back leg, reaching your arm up and either choosing to look into the palm of the hand or guiding your gaze gently downwards. Here also is a light squeeze of the feet inwards, while you might say to yourself, I am grateful, generous. I am generous. As you release with the softening of the back knee, let your arms roll in. Let your hands and your knees come down towards the floor. And as you come to sit, extending your legs out long in front of you. For our next shape, which is an upward facing plank, you could also choose an upward facing tabletop. If none of that is suitable for you because your wrists or your shoulders feel sore, please lie down on the back. I will just briefly demonstrate the alternative and perhaps choose this bridge posture. You might even support it with a block underneath. If you would like to practice the other variation, for the upward facing plank, the legs are close and your feet are pointed. For both other variations, your hands are resting behind, ideally the fingers pointing forward, but some might come up onto fists and the thumbs are pointing forward. You can choose to lift from here, or if you want the extra support, separate the legs to hip distance, bend the knees. For the in-breath, then squeezing your bottom up into the air. Gaze starts forward. If you want to bring it back, bring the chin forward first, then guiding the head backwards. Keeping your bottom lifted if your legs are out long, pointing your toes towards the floor. The silent repetition of the mantra, I am patient. I am patient. See if you can squeeze your bottom up no matter the choice of your shape. Heart is opening here. I am patient. I am patient. As you gently land back onto your bottom or lift yourself back to a seat, bend the knees. Come to a seat with your knees falling out to either side. We'll do this in a preparation as you might walk the feet a little bit in and take a hold of your ankles or embracing your toes. And while I can see some of you wobbling, I feel compelled to do the same. It just feels much more grounded when we nestle ourselves in. Take a good pull on the feet and lengthen your spine. And then perhaps just swaying forward. You might rest your elbows down onto your legs. You might choose to have your feet a bit further away from you. See what feels right. Where's the stretch that your body might enjoy? You could choose here to close your eyes for a while. And perhaps starting to repeat the mantra, I am a good friend. I am a good friend. So you could choose to let go of the mantra, maybe swaying just a little bit to feel the difference in both legs, perhaps to find a slightly deeper forward bend. Letting go of tension on the inner thighs, the knees becoming very heavy. And then uncurling your spine, helping your knees back up and stepping your feet comfortably down onto the floor in front of you. Bring the hands or fists down behind you to support and lengthen your spine. And perhaps letting your knees gently roll from side to side. The wider your feet are apart, the more inward rotation you get from one leg, which might nicely counterbalance our previous hip opening. Once you feel a little bit more at ease, you can choose to keep your knees bent here. Please have one of your blocks sitting directly by the side of the mat. You might even embrace the knees or hold onto the backs of the thighs to roll down and take your knees with you and give them a little hug in towards your chest. You might enjoy a little rocking here from side to side, just to release the back. If you've got a ball nearby like myself, you might just roll up and swing your feet up onto the wall. If that's not what you like to do today, land your feet down, lift your hips up, take the block and support underneath the sacrum. Block can be of any height that you feel is supportive for you. You might keep a hold of the block as you lift your feet, bring the knees towards the chest, and then gently extending the legs upward, just like those that might rest their feet against the wall. If your block underneath is feeling stable, can you also, like others, relax your arms out and slightly away from your body? As you come into your inversion for today, you might repeat to yourself, I am kind. I am kind. Keep focusing on the mantra. Allow the feelings of the postures to be present. Center your mind on I am kind. Letting go of the mantra. If your legs are up the wall, just like everybody else, let your knees soften in towards the chest. Feel how there's a shift in energy movement within the body. And if you're against the wall, now roll to your favorite side. If you're on a block, stepping your feet back down at gentle hip distance. From your wall, push yourself back onto the mat, preparing for relaxation, Shavasana. If you're on the block, lift the hips, remove the block, and slowly roll the spine back down onto the floor. Now also preparing yourself for Shavasana. If you've got your favorite bolster cushioning for under the knees, place it there. If you need a deeper bend in the knees today, step the feet out to mat distance. Let your knees fall in for a constructive rest. And if you like, you can also come to full Shavasana pose, extending both legs out, letting them part and the toes are rolling outwards. Wiggle your shoulder blades slightly under. That might be applicable for all. Let the arms fall away from the body, the palms of the hands facing upwards. You might enjoy, before you rest completely, a little turn of the head again from side to side, removing stress and tension from the neck area. Before you might choose to center the head, steady your gaze toward the ceiling, or close your eyes. Have you been kind to yourself throughout this practice? Have there been thoughts interrupting kindness? How do you communicate with yourself? As you come into stillness, you might notice the breath again. You could start repeating each statement once after me. May I be well, healthy, and strong. May I be happy. May I abide in peace. Noticing how that feels in your heart. If you like, bring to mind someone you like a lot and respect. Send them these feelings of warmth and caring as you wish them well by repeating once after me. May you be well. May you be happy. May you abide in peace. You might now like to bring to mind someone you barely know and basically feel neutral about. Might be someone you've just met somewhere, someone you've seen. Send them these feelings of warmth and caring as you again repeat. May you be well. May you be happy. May you abide in peace. If you enjoy, do this with someone who has hurt you in the past. It's important to remember that you are not condoning or approving of what they have done. You are simply allowing yourself to let go of any pain or anger you hold within yourself, allowing yourself freedom from those feelings. As you might repeat, may you be well. May you be happy. May you abide in peace. Perhaps it feels right to send loving kindness gradually outward to everyone in your surrounding area, the town you live in, your country, perhaps even the world. As you could repeat, may you all be well. May you all be happy. May you all abide in peace. Then bring your focus back upon yourself. So the feeling of loving kindness fills your whole being. Breathing in peacefully, breathing out peacefully. At peace with yourself, at peace with the world. You might finish by repeating, may I be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, with ease. Returning your awareness from there to your breath. The body on the mat. Allowing your breath to deepen. And perhaps adding gentle movement. Maybe there's a stretch here for you. From where you might rise to sit over the front or by rolling onto the side of the body. Joining me in a seated position when you're ready, where you could choose to rest your hands upon your heart or touching your palms in Anjali Mudra, as we often do in front of the heart space, and the thumbs lightly touching the heart. We might finish our practice today with the universal sound of Om, followed by 3 Shantis, translating to peace. Let's inhale for the Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Kindness and peacefulness, the joy in our hearts. We extend with a gentle bow toward each other. Namaste.